Aloha and welcome to the HBCU Experience on ThinkTech Hawaii. I am your host, Gwendolyn Harris. Marching bands play a big part at historical Black colleges and universities, also known as HBCUs. Today, we will discuss why they are a big part and why there is such a rivalry between the bands. My guests today are all amazing musicians and were members of their HBCU marching bands. Please, let's welcome Mr. Lin Rountree, Miss Stephanie Sanders, Mr. Derrick Gardner, and Mr. Jesse Thompson to the show. Aloha, you guys. How are you?
Aloha.
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 Thank you so much. This is not the background that I wanted. I had to represent, but that's okay. I'm here in Hawaii, so we'll go ahead and use this one. I want to thank all of you for being here today, and it's late where all of you are. I know, Stephanie, you said you have band practice in the morning, and I know all of you have things that you have to do. So thank you so much for being here. So I am so glad to see all of you. For all of you who don't know, Derrick and I marched 30 plus years ago at Hampton University. So it's glad to see him here today. So let's get this party started, like I like to say. Why did all of you attend an HBCU? And then tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start with Derrick.
Okay. Well, uh, uh, I both the reason why I attended an HBCU is because I was kind of heavily influenced by my parents. As we were talking earlier, uh, my father's a graduate of Jackson State University, and my mother is a graduate of Talladega University in Alabama, and she was actually classmates with the president of Hampton University, Dr. William Harvey. And so we came to the Virginia area. I'm originally from Chicago. The whole family moved to Virginia because both my parents got jobs in Virginia. My dad was at teaching at Norfolk State in the music department. My mother was chairperson of the music department at Hampton. My mother was like, "You're going to Hampton." I said, "Okay, I'm going to Hampton," and so I obtained my bachelor's degree in music and went on to get my master's degree and went on to tour professionally as a professional musician. I went up with the Count Basie Orchestra for about 6-7 years, and then moved to New York during that time and just built my career as a musician. And now got into education, and I'm teaching at the University of Manitoba in Canada, and
Wow.
I'm still getting used to the cold up here, but that's all right. I hope to come to visit you in Hawaii so I can thaw out.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Stephanie?
Yes. Both of my parents are graduates of Jackson State University. So that was a wonderful choice for me. And got my bachelor's at Jackson State and went back to Houston. I'm from Houston, Texas. And I've actually taught at 3 HBCUs. I taught at
Wow.
Prairie View. I taught jazz ensemble at Prairie View. I taught marching band and jazz ensemble at Alcorn State University, and then I've been at Norfolk State University for 21 years.
How long?
hmm
How long is
21.
it?
21.
21?
Yes.
Wow, Stephanie. Wow.
Mhm.
Jesse?
Hi. Well, actually, my influence came from my band director, who's my high school band director, who also became my college band director at Central State University, Dr. Oliver, Dr. O. So um, he was really my good influence and true influence as far as wanting to attend HBCU. And so I went there and I studied underneath music with him, but also studied manufacturing engineering, which is kind of a little bit of an offset because I was a little bit of an IT geek nerd at the same time as, a musician, right? So, but, musicians and math goes together. They go hand in hand, right? So technology. But yeah, I attended there in '89, did a lot of things there with the university, with the band. We traveled, we went to London. There I became a member of Kappa Kappa Psi, National Honorary Band Fraternity. And K, sorry. Don't get me started, right? But it was a great experience. I think that, attending there helped me learn a lot. It helped me a lot with my understanding my culture, as well as just being amongst others and friends and people that were just so talented and diverse and smart. I mean, you have people who were not only music majors, but some with math and math majors as well. I have a frat brother who majored in mathematics, and of course, he helped me with a lot of my schoolwork. But so from there, I came here to Columbus, Ohio, and now I'm actually a national recording artist, and trying to move in the past of my brother Lin Rountree over there, and so yeah, the rest is history. So thanks for having me on the show with you. So thank you.
Oh,
Appreciate
awesome! I'm loving this, Lin.
Well, my experience is probably similar to everybody. I mean, I've got an element of everybody's experience in my experience. And so my parents both graduated from Norfolk State University, both from big, huge families. My mother, 15 sisters and brothers. My dad comes from a big family, and they all pretty much went to Norfolk State and that area. And we were the one family that actually left there, because most people, in Norfolk don't leave. They stay there. So we kind of branched out, moved to New York, moved around, landed in the Northern Virginia area during my high school years when I was trying to figure out what college I was going to go to. I had a plethora of opportunities. Hampton was on the list. Of course, Howard was on the list, but I thought, if I stayed too close to home, I might get in a little bit of trouble. So I decided, because of the band and because of both the business program, I would choose FAMU. So I couldn't go wrong there. So once I tried out and made it, skills, pop my college. Also, the business down there, School of Business Industry, and the best school of business industry, one of the best business programs in the country. I was also accepted there. But when I got there, I was in for a rude awakening. We made it, but and you made it. You want to be in the band? I knew nothing about being a part of a Southern band, Southern HBCU band. Everybody else seemed to be prepared to go through that experience, but me. But in honor of not giving up and having a stick to it attitude, my dad instilled in me, I saw it through. Did not go KK Psi because my eyes were on Omega Psi Phi, and so we went through that team. But we had a lot of your partners down there, Derrick. We had Wyclef used to come through all the time. Scotty Barnhart used to come through, give us these Monet mouthpieces and dare us to try and play them and get a sound on them. So it was just a lot of good musicians, and real seriousness. And I learned, as I say in my bio, the value of preparation, practice, and preparedness. We had to shake the tree every time we got ready to get on the field. Standing up in front of the entire, if anybody you all know, but people maybe watching don't know, you stand up in front of the entire band. You perform a dance routine or what have you, musically, you be on point dancing. And so, I take that in my performances to this day. On every show, every festival, I'm prepared, I'm practicing, I'm doing the show right here in my basement. I'm going through all of my routines. I move around on stage, and people say, why you move so much? I think I'm a trumpet player, so stand in one spot. Well, I learned that from being in the band, from having to gush and move and still play. And I think there's a response. So I don't want to do too long, but there's a response to one of my YouTube clips where I'm playing, and the guy says, well, man, he just looks, I don't know if I like Rountree. He looks like a marching band person. I said, well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. So yeah, but that all goes along with, again, making it. And if you can survive and make it through the band and the programs down there, and just the environment, the atmosphere down there, it gives you a leg up in the regular world, and being able to push and have this attitude where, they couldn't break me down there. I made it. There's nothing you guys can do that would compare to what I went through down there. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on the prize.
Excellent. Now, what are some of the difference? And we know, but our audience might not know. What are some of the differences between an HBCU marching band and a marching band at a non-HBCU? I'll say this, Lynn, I agree with you because when I got into the marching band, going to predominantly white schools, I was only in concert band, right? So when I got down south to a southern band, I was like, okay, now you're expecting me to play, march, dance, and memorize music
at the same time.
Right.
All while you're wearing a white T-shirt, you can't walk on the.
Yes.
you can't do this. You can't do that. And let's not talk about what else was going on down there that's currently outlawed. So that was a rude awakening.
Exactly. So, my first 2 weeks of band camp were HE double hockey sticks because I didn't know, going through all of that. And I'm like, oh, goodness, now I got to remember all this music. And if you don't remember it, you got your section leaders on you. So, Derrick, what are some of the differences that you think are a difference between our, HBCU bands and our non-HBCU bands?
We got soul.
That's it.
That's what it is.
That's in discussion.
That's it. Yeah.
It's almost like just using one black and pepper versus using seasoning salt.
You did.
Seasoning salt gives you an extra added dimension to your flavor, and that's what HBCUs give.
Yep.
Right.
And I can
lemon pepper, cayenne.
You did.
Spice.
Vegetable oil and bacon grease.
Now you're right. That I think that pretty much sums it up. Is soul, because I know all of y'all are going to say the same thing, aren't y'all? Basically.
It's just, but what is interesting is that when I went to a predominantly white high school, and we Stephanie, you might know this high school, Bayside High School in Virginia.
Yes, I sure do.
I came out of Bayside, and at the time, we were doing corps style marching, and so that's all I was familiar with as far as marching band. And I remember my band director, who was not familiar. Well, no, he was familiar with the marching bands. He knew about Norfolk State, knew about Hampton, and maybe you might have known about Elizabeth City, but he made a comment about marching bands. He wasn't black. He was a white band director, and he made a comment about he saw Norfolk State on TV. And I guess the TV was in the band room, and they had a clip of Norfolk State, and he made a comment about Norfolk State's marching band that that's not music, And I looked at him like, well, who are you to say that? Even at that young age, I understood that wasn't cool. Who are you to say, you ain't that great of a musician. You're dagging yourself. So how you gonna tell us, And my dad taught at Norfolk State, during that time, and I was at music, and he was writing, some of the arrangements for the marching band during that time as well. And I was like, well, wait a minute, my dad is contributing to that program. How can you say that that's not music? And so then once I got to Hampton. And I had the same kind of shell-shocking experience about marching 8 to 5, instead of corps style. Different thing, boy. And having to play, dance, memorize music, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It was an amazing experience. It really was.
Yes, it was. Now, what was your biggest band rival during your time? I know for us, Derrick, at the time, 30 plus years ago, it was Norfolk State. Yeah. It was Norfolk State. And then I think also I would put Howard in there too, because they always say the real HU, right?
Right.
But who
we got a FAMU person that is a little disgusting.
Well, we have
Go ahead, Derrick.
You have to mention that Hampton, we got to give it up to FAM.
Yes.
Because of Dr. Foster created a legacy and a history of the Black Marching Band.
Right.
And
Modern Band Pageantry. That was his book.
Was that
The Modern Band Pageantry.
Yeah, exactly. And
Pageantry and esprit de corps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And FAMU and Grambling were the first really two prominent marching bands, and especially HBCU bands that were known internationally.
That's right. That's right.
And so they put their mark on for all HBCUs.
Yeah.
And all their programs, and just amazing.
The expectations for us, coming in as a freshman, I mean, we had to try out. And when you say, I mean, absolutely right. When you say music, I mean, music was as important as the dancing and all the other stuff that we did. I mean, we were expecting, and I coming from marching band style music, military style marching band as well. We had the little flip chart things on the horn, marching around with the music, reading the music. I brought that thing down, and somebody saw me with that saying, "What do you think you at?" They threw that thing away and said, "No, you learn the music, you internalize it, and you have to play it. As a trumpet player, you gotta have your chops together. You gotta, but you still gotta move and hit all these dance steps, but you still better be hitting the music. I mean, we're gonna have not only be the best in dancing and soul, but musically, we have to sound good. We have to, when we hit that slow jam, man, you got to hear a wave of sound. All these parts have to be right. We had Lindsey Sargent, who was a great arranger, and he used to arrange these songs, man, and he used to get the instrumentation that he used to use, the texture that he used to use in his arrangements, with the different counterpoint and all that stuff going on. It was just, it was like a wall of sound coming at you. I mean, and so whatever you're playing, if you're playing Flight of the Bumblebee, if you're playing something, or, like my first slow song was the Glenn Jones, I've Been Searching. When we came and hit that slow jam and we reared back, Foster got up. He was emeritus at the time I was there. He used to direct the slow jam. And he used to get up there and hit it one. I've been searching. And them horns hitting that. Dun, dun, dun. People used to say, whoa, we wanted to blow people out of the stands, but have that great stereotype sound, man. And it was nothing like it, man. I'm telling you.
So who was your rival? Who was your rival at that time?
We had no rivals. We were FAMU. We had no rivals. We showed up with 6 buses. Who could be our rival?
Yeah.
No, I'm messing with you. We used to have a fun rivalry with Southern, of course.
Okay.
And then Bethune-Cookman used to think they were in the running. Grambling, of course. But BCC, because we should do the Tampa Classic with them. But my year, we actually came up and played Howard for a show. That trip was very, very fun, very interesting.
Don't talk about band trips, because band
played. Yeah, that was a heck of a band trip there. But you imagine 6 buses full of Southern people from Florida, going to DC. I'm just like, oh, what can happen here? Yeah. But but yeah, it was fun. I think the Southern FAMU rivalry was the most intense. It was the most intense because we had a lot of people from Louisiana that came over to the band. St. Aug, some of these people that graduated from some of these high schools that basically were many marching bands, with graduates that had just gone to these respective high schools and taught nothing but our style of marching. So these people came in ready. We had Miami, people from Miami were a little touched down there at the bottom, the gold teeth and all that stuff when I went. So it was very interesting, the environment, and it was very intense. I mean, to the point where, you might need to hide in your room or something after the show. And, these things where, people came to see the games, but they really came to see the band.
That's right. What about you, Jesse? Who was your rival when you were at Central?
Our rival was Kentucky State at the time. Okay. So we used to go out at the time. It was I mean, just in agreement to what everyone has said, it was when we got the music, to learn it, we had to like learn it. We had to make it come alive. You had to not only know your part, not only know your dance routine, and then also, we did formations as well because we wanted to show our diversity because, oftentimes the non-HBCU schools think that they were the best, in formation, with the formation and with the straight lines and all this stuff. And, Mr. Oliver, he was like, listen, you ain't got to look to the side. He's like, you just better know. You better know where that person is, that peripheral vision. Everybody should be locked in. Everybody should be straight. And, we had this thing where we had the shaking of the tree, but then we also had the death march. You guys know about the death march? So it's like, that was a punishment for being either you was late or everybody went on one accord. We didn't have the one sound. So it was unique, but we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of good times as far as learning each other and just making sure that we provided quality music, a quality sound, because, again, it was more than just dancing. It was more than just playing the music. When we had to put on a show, people come for a show. A lot of people would come to the games just right before halftime to watch the band. And then after that,
and we'll leave after halftime.
Yeah. Unless we had a drum battle and everybody stay around, right? We had drum battles. But other than that, you're absolutely right, Stephanie. They would come in for halftime. They wouldn't care nothing about the game, and then just leave after that. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Now, Stephanie, what is the process to get a student into the band, or how is your band process for Norfolk State as an associate band director?
Actually, with the pandemic, we've done a lot of virtual auditions. You can either do them live, either FaceTime, you can Google Duo. You can also submit through YouTube and send a private link to us. And that's what we've been doing. It's just been a challenge for a lot of students this year because most of the students are just now going back into the classroom. But you do have those kids who are really, really headstrong and have done what they're supposed to do. I'll say their due diligence. And they have been working hard. So we've been having some really good players audition. And that's our process. Before pandemic, we were also going to the school. We would travel across the country to audition students, and we get students not only in the United States, but we go to the Virgin Islands, and we do have a couple of international students as well. So just been blessed with that.
Now, this question is for all of you, and we're not going to take too much time of it, but I want each of you to answer the question, because we're going to show a video here shortly. The movie Drumline really brought to forefront the HBCUs. Do you really think that it depicted how marching band really is? And Jesse, I'm going to start with you because you did play drums at Central. How did you think that movie depicted an HBCU marching band?
Yeah, I mean, I think someone took some notes in the background of Hitting the Shrubs or something on bits and parts of that movie. I mean, it allowed people to see on the big screen, right? As far as like how our bands are, how our schools are, what we can do. It's not everything though. I mean, but that gave a nice snapshot as far as what we can do as a HBCU. So I think it came very, very, very close. That's my opinion. With the actual drum battle, with the performances, and of course it was a movie, so they really couldn't probably give all the true details. But I think it came very close to it.
So I'm looking at my time right now, but we're gonna go to a quick clip just so that people can know what an HBCU band is like and the sound of an HBCU band, and we're going to come back. You guys already know we're going to have to do a part 2 to this, right? But I want people to understand when we talk about an HBCU, the sound of an HBCU. And Stephanie, I'm going to have you talk about this clip because it looked like it was shot during COVID. During COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It was the one, The Greatest Love. We're just gonna
Love
show
is the greatest
Love is
story.
the Greatest Story. We're going to show
Yeah.
that one.
Okay. If you want me to set that up, since we
Yes.
had the wonderful versus battle this past Sunday with Earth, Wind, and Fire and Isaac Brothers, I think every band head in the world was watching that and singing every song or marching to every song, and just bringing back wonderful nostalgia. So this piece is written by Paul Adams. Actually, Paul Adams was my band director at Jackson State. And he is the reason why I came to Norfolk State. I was teaching at Alcorn, and Mr. James Tester had just retired. And so they needed a woodwind coordinator, and asked me to audition. And that's how I got to Norfolk State. But Paul Adams is a prolific arranger. He's a graduate of Southern, and he's known around the HBCU world. And this is Love is the Greatest Story.
Let's roll it. Aloha and welcome back. That was awesome, Stephanie. Your band is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say that, but Derrick, you know who the real band is, right?
Well, you know what time.
Yeah, they know what time it is. But
You don't have to. You can say Norfolk State. You can say Norfolk State.
But I want to thank all of you for being here today. We will have to leave it there. You have been watching the HBCU Experience on ThinkTech Hawaii. All of you, we're going to come back for a part 2 because this is not done yet. All right. We still have more to talk about. But until then, we'll be back in a couple weeks. Until then, aloha and God bless.